to say a brief word about tax evasion from a Christian perspective. It's wrong.
Hey!
So, and the Bible is so abundantly clear on how we're to treat money that the teaching should be self-evident, but there are a lot of religious folk preaching a different gospel. So I'm really happy to be up here first to say, hey, that ain't the gospel.
Right on. Yeah.
So it's necessary to say about tax evasion, wearing my preacher clothes.
Still for the big one, everybody.
It's wrong. It's wrong for the wealthiest among us to refuse to help the poorest among us. And that's what this is about for me as a person who tries to follow Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Right? It's not about how much money we're going to give the government, like the government is a machine that runs another machine that's somewhere far away from us. The government is us.
Yes.
The government is the 99%. And when some of us decide not to pay taxes, it means that others of us, the ones who most dearly need it, lose their safety net. They lose their ability to have food and shelter. They lose their access to a lot of the things that most of us can take for granted. As a nation, we care for the needy by taking resources from the people who have the most of them and giving them to the ones that have less. In the language of the book of Proverbs, this helping is honorable. Right? It says in Proverbs, to honor the poor is to honor God. The reverse is also true. In the book of 1 John, we read, how does God's love abide in anyone who has the world's goods and sees a brother or sister in need and yet refuses to help? Until we have a tax system that won't allow those with the most to ignore those with the least, we have an unjust system. And that should be an abomination to people of faith everywhere and to people everywhere.
Yeah!
Every pastor in America, every person of faith, every clergy person in America should be out today saying something like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Every candidate for president who touts his Christian street cred should be saying something like this and demanding that General Electric pay up and that Bank of America pay up.
Yeah!
Get a real system.
Yeah!
And if you'll let me just one more bit of scripture, and then I'll stop talking. If this is going to be a Christian nation that doesn't help the poor, either we have to pretend that Jesus was just as selfish as we are, or we've got to acknowledge that he commanded us to love the poor and serve the needy without condition, and then admit that we just don't want to do it. That is the gospel according to Stephen Colbert. I want to live in Stephen Colbert's America. Thank you for being here.
Yeah!
Occupy the gospel.